Video 33, Legal and Ethical Issues in Implementation Area 3, MCHES Sub-Competencies 3.4.5. Review the learning objectives for this video. Now we are going to cover a topic that is absolutely critical for your professional practice and for the Master Certified Health Education Specialist exam. Legal and ethical issues might sound a bit intimidating, but I promise you, understanding these concepts will give you real confidence in your work. Liability refers to your legal responsibility for your professional actions or your failure to act. As a health educator, you have a duty of care to the participants in your programs. When that duty is breached and harm results, you may be held liable. Negligence comes in two forms, and it is important to know the difference between them. Negligence by omission occurs when you fail to do something that your professional duty requires. For example, if you know that a program activity poses a safety risk and you fail to warn participants, that is negligence by omission. You had an obligation to act and you did not. Negligence by commission occurs when you take an action that causes harm. For example, if you advise a participant to stop taking their prescribed medication and replace it with an herbal supplement, and the participant suffers health consequences, that is negligence by commission. You took an action that exceeded your professional scope and caused harm. The standard of care is the benchmark used to evaluate whether negligence occurred. It asks what a reasonably competent health education professional would have done in the same situation. If your actions fall below this standard, you may be found negligent. Now, here is something I really want you to take to heart. Documentation is your single most important protection against liability claims. Detailed records of program activities, participant interactions, safety measures, and any incidents create a paper trail that demonstrates your professionalism and due diligence. Make documentation a habit, and it will serve you well throughout your entire career. Informed consent is both a legal requirement and an ethical obligation in health education, and it is one of those skills that protects everyone involved. It protects participants' autonomy and protects you and your organization from liability. There are 5 essential components, so let us walk through each one together. First, you must disclose the nature and purpose of the program or activity. Participants need to understand what they are signing up for, what will happen during the program, and what the intended outcomes are. This information must be presented in clear, plain language that the participant can understand, not in technical jargon. Second, you must explain the potential risks and benefits of participation. For a physical activity program, this might include the risk of injury and the benefit of improved cardiovascular health. For a research study, this might include the risk of emotional discomfort from survey questions and the benefit of contributing to knowledge that helps others. Third, you must clarify that participation is entirely voluntary and that the participant can withdraw at any time without penalty. No one should ever feel coerced into participating in a health education program. That respect for autonomy is foundational. Fourth, you must ensure that the participant has the capacity to make an informed decision. This means they are of legal age, are not under the influence of substances, and are able to understand the information being presented. When working with minors, consent must be obtained from a parent or legal guardian, and assent should be obtained from the minor themselves. Fifth, obtain a written signature on a consent form and provide a copy to the participant for their records. Store the original in a secure location as part of your documentation. These 5 components will become second nature to you with practice. Beyond legal requirements, you also have ethical obligations that guide your conduct during program implementation, and these are just as important. Maintaining confidentiality is paramount. Participant information collected during a program, including health data, personal stories shared in group settings, and evaluation responses, must be protected. Use secure storage systems, limit access to authorized personnel only, and never share identifiable information without explicit written permission. Your participants trust you with sensitive information, and honoring that trust is essential. Operating within your professional scope of practice means not providing services that fall outside your training and qualifications. Health educators are not licensed to diagnose medical conditions, prescribe treatments, or provide clinical counseling. When participants need services beyond your scope, your obligation is to refer them to appropriate professionals. Knowing your boundaries actually makes you a stronger professional. Mandatory reporting laws require health educators and other professionals to report suspected child abuse, elder abuse, or other situations where individuals are at risk of harm. These laws vary by state, so you must be familiar with the specific requirements in your jurisdiction. Failing to report when required is both a legal and ethical violation. Ensuring equitable access means that your program does not discriminate on the basis of race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, disability, socioeconomic status, or any other protected characteristic. Program materials, locations, and delivery methods should be accessible to all members of your priority population. Finally, the Unified Code of Ethics for the Health Education Profession, maintained by the Coalition of National Health Education Organizations, provides a comprehensive framework for ethical practice. Familiarize yourself with this document as it is referenced on the certification exam. These ethical commitments are what make health education such a respected profession, and you should be proud to uphold them. Read the scenario stem aloud. Give students 30 seconds to consider options before advancing. The correct answer is C. The health educator must operate within their professional scope of practice, which means they cannot diagnose or treat medical conditions. However, they have an ethical obligation to express genuine concern and connect the participant with appropriate medical resources. Providing referral information for low cost or free services directly addresses the participant's stated barrier of cost. Keeping the information entirely confidential without any action would be negligent, and removing the participant could be discriminatory. Summarize the key takeaways before